Actually, what I think I'm gonna do is I think I'm going to involve you in my Bible study. Um, you know, I'm working on the book of John right now because that talks a lot about Jesus, um, and all that stuff. So you can really get to know who Jesus is and stuff like that. Um, so I mean, I'm on verse. Let's see here. Um, I'm on verse 11, but I mean, I'll start off on verse 1 and I'll tell you, you know, I mean, I don't really know, like, how good at studying you are, but, I would, studying the Bible is a little bit different than studying for school. I mean, it's not rocket science, but, I mean, there's multiple ways. There's no right or wrong way to study. There's just, you know, in a more efficient ways than others, and I'll just give you one way. Or, I mean, if you are interested, you know, um, I mean, if you're just curious, like I said, I mean, you could just, I mean, even if you just get one off of eBay or something, there's something, hang on for a minute. There's something here called, I'm just going to check this out really quick. It's called the Strong, Exhaustive, um, Concordance. It's, Strong's Exhaustive, of the Bible. So that's Strong's Exhaustive, Concordance of the Bible, and that's the King James version of the Bible. So, in other words, I mean that they have Greek and Hebrew in there, not but just like interpretations of it in both languages for the Old Testament and the New Testament, and every word that's in the King James version Bible, um, every word is in there. So I mean, it breaks it down for you, so you don't have to worry. I mean that's just one tool you can use for studying. Just like I said, the internet is full of garbage. I mean, if you want to sit there and Google the name of a word, that's one thing. But I mean, if don't go to the internet trying to get to know God. Please don't. The internet is the worst place that you could ever go to try to get to know God. Don't go there, please. Um, but that is just one thing that if of course, if you're interested, you could you can get. But these modern day Bibles like the NIV and all that stuff, ESV, even the New King James Bible, those are all newer, like 20th century like Bibles. Um, I mean, they're not brand new, of course, but I mean, some are newer than others, but they're pretty much modern day Bibles, and there's a lot of mixed emotions on those things. But I mean, if you do research, you can see where some of these Bibles leave out verses, whole verses, sometimes half verses, and sometimes they'll twist them ever so subtly to where it look like kind of like what I was talking about before. Like that's why it's if you're going to use one of these things, like the Bible that I do the study with you off of. This is a newer version, but I also have the Holy Bible too, so I can kind of just line it up. I have a holy I have a few Bibles in here, and I just so I mean, there's really nothing wrong with using a newer version if that's what you want to do, but you know have a Holy Bible too, which is the King James Holy Bible, and just kind of like line it up there, because the Holy Bible, um, I think it's actually the 1611. Um, I mean, but that'll pretty much, give you a more of an accurate, you could pretty much line it up that way. And then, like I said, you got that exhaustive concordance, which, everything you need is in there, every meaning to every word and all that stuff. And, like I said, when you study the Bible, you have to break it down. Languages, you can't take a word, from way back when and, kind of bring it through time to 2016 and be like, God promoted slavery. You can't do that. Because it also says in the Bible that God, you know, was there. You know, God does not. God looks down upon people who are oppressed and stuff like that. I mean, just read the Bible for yourself. I mean, people were enslaved and stuff, but I mean, the word slavery means pretty much that, you know, you know, like I said to you before, like somebody who would go to work in 2016, like you know, you wake up, it's Monday morning, you roll up out of bed, you brush your teeth, you get ready, and you go to work. What is that? That's a slave. You're a slave. I mean, of course, you're not in whips and chains, or you know, somebody's not whipping you. You're not out back doing hard labor, but that's what the Bible calls a slave, and that's technically that's what somebody is. I mean, you're sitting here, you know, working your butt off just to make somebody else rich, and even if you're an entrepreneur, you're still working to make somebody rich. Somebody's getting rich off you somewhere. You know, so that's what they basically call a slave, and everybody on this planet is a slave. Slavery doesn't necessarily mean what we think it means. So you can't just take a word from, you know, a word from the Bible way thousands of years ago and kind of, you know, warp it through time and bring it to 2016 and look at it for, you know, what we see it as. So you really have to study the background, the culture, because culture makes a big difference too, plus the timing of it, who's speaking, what are they talking about, all that stuff kind of comes into play. It's not hard, but it's not hard at all. It's just it's basically just more, it takes time. So nonetheless, so I mean, it is what it is. So I don't want you to get caught up in the whole, like a lot of people will sit there and say, well, God is, you know, this and that and whatever else. We'll study. I mean, did they study it? I mean, did they really break it down? You know, like did they break it down as much as they possibly could to like the very core of it? Because, you know, there's a lot of things that seem a little goofballish, you know, especially when it comes to the Bible. But you know, when you really study it and you really break it down, then you really see the true meaning of the word or the verse or whatever. So, and you know, of course, it always helps to pray to God before that happens and just leave it in His hands. And you know, like what I do is I'll pray and I say, you know, if there's anything you want to tell me, there you go. Like leave the results up to Him. Leave the results up to Him. I'm gonna sit there and get all antsy and worked up and God, why aren't you talking to me? Why aren't you talking to me? Because then at that point you're just kind of drowning. You know, you're kind of drowning Him out. You're getting in the way at that point. That's why God calls us to rest, because when we rest, then we can then He can, you know, when we're quiet in spirit, then He can talk to us. Obviously, I don't mean audibly, but you know, nonetheless, whatever works for you. Then you'll be able to be sensitive to what He's trying to tell you. You know, so I don't know. I just wanted to say that. So I think that's what I'm gonna do. And like I said, I mean, I'll also do other verses with you that, you know, are different verses that, you know, a teenager could relate to. But for now, I think I'm just gonna go do John with you. So that's what I'll pretty much do. And like I said, I'm on verse 11, and I'll just kind of walk you through my notes personally. And so there it is. It's 8:15 now. Like I said, between 9 and 10. I love you.